Welcome to the Navigating Your Life show. I'm your host, Nat Williams. Tonight we're going to discuss finances after retirement. When the paycheck stops, what happens? Recently I had the opportunity to visit the retirement community of Moravian Village in Bethlehem to speak with some recent retirees, and here's what happened. Talk with us about life after retirement. When the paycheck's in, what has that been like for you? Shirley, why don't we start with you first?
Well, I prepared for retirement. You're talking about dollars when you say paycheck. I think more important is emotionally and being ready to deal with a slower lifestyle. And I knew, because I took early retirement, that wouldn't work for me. I think it's important for people who are planning retirement to be sure that they have something to do that they really enjoy. And as they approach retirement, if they've not been involved in community affairs, to get involved with something, because depression is something that happens to older people. And I think it happens when they're alone and their family has grown and moved away, and also when they don't have anything to do to occupy these very active minds. Because just because you're retired doesn't mean your mind went to sleep.
As an independent practitioner, I sought professional help from financial planners, and was able to put aside the maximum amount allowable into a tax-deferred account, as I did for my employees. And as it turned out, this gave me a cushion which enabled me to move here. So I would say if you're not a financial person, to get professional help is very important.
I would say, in addition to having the financial wherewithal to move here, one has to have a time goal in mind. I think perhaps 10 years before you want to retire, you should say, I want to retire in whatever it is, 1980 or whatever that date is. So you have something to look forward to, and you don't wait to the last minute. We have friends, several, who put off moving to a place like this. Put it off. All of a sudden, they were physically and emotionally unable to make the move, and then are stuck with where they are in a very unhappy situation.
Tell us about what made this arrangement for you attractive, as opposed to living in a house that stands on its own. You're living in a sense of a community here. How did you make that choice? And why did you make that choice, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, it gave us, my wife and myself, a chance to get away from the common, ordinary activities that are involved in living in your own home.
Sure.
We no longer had to worry about maintenance, or about fixing the roof, or about getting the grass mowed. We didn't have to go shopping anymore. We didn't have to prepare meals. We didn't have to clean up after the meals. All those little necessities that you have in life prior to this disappeared, and left us with more time, more freedom, more possibilities of getting into other kind of activities.
My husband passed, and I was alone, and it's far easier to have the maintenance done for you as it is here at the village. I live in a cottage, as does Ralph, and I am alone, and the neighbors take good care of you. There's any number of services that you can have. So while I don't think I was ready for an apartment living, the cottage was just perfect.
I lived in a very nice home, and my wife became ill, and it was obvious that she was going to have to eventually move into a nursing facility. And I knew Moravian Village was starting up, and so I bought one of the cottages. I've been here 5 years, and I am very happy here.
Wow.
I would say the biggest plus is the feeling of community.
Thank you so much to George and Shirley and Ralph for sharing their retirement advice with us. We're We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, we'll be bringing into studio a financial representative from PNC Bank. So please stay with us.
Do you want to achieve a greater role in your life? Then join Dr. Nat Williams for the Absolutes of Success series, Attaining Your Personal Best workshop in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Workshop highlights include challenging life events, life's least common denominators, reframing, and developing a solid plan for the future. Attendees also receive the Absolutes of Success series workbook. Register today, only $50. Call 1-800-810-3683 or absolutesofsuccess.com.
You choose your doctor. You choose your pharmacy. Why shouldn't you choose your in-home healthcare provider? The good news is you can and you should. When your hospital or doctor prescribes home care, Alan Lear Home Care Associates will work with you in the comfort of your own home, providing a full range of services. Our nurses are dedicated professionals that take the time to get to know you and help you return to your optimal health. Call Alan Lear Home Care Associates, caring for you when you need us most.
Ready for some fun? FunWorks assists individuals with and without disabilities to participate in community activities. These activities are provided in small settings for 1 to 8 individuals with at least 1 to 2 direct support professionals. We visit places like Dollywood, Willow Valley Inn, Phillies Games, Iron Pigs Games, the Lehigh Valley Zoo, and more. Let us know your dream trip. Our staff is dedicated to ensuring your dream activities come true. For more information, call 888-966-9466 or visit funworksinc.org.
Joelle, age 13, loves sports. In school, she plays on the field hockey, basketball, and softball teams. She's also a cheerleader. Though her extracurricular activities keep her busy, Joelle still manages to earn great grades and is on the honor roll. She would like to be a lawyer when she grows up and is willing to work hard to achieve her dream. This soft-spoken teen delights in receiving adult attention and praise and is doing well in her foster home. She would thrive in a permanent home that would give her the love, stability, and security she needs to reach her potential. For adoption information, please access the National Adoption Center's website at adopt.org. And for further information specifically on Joelle, please contact A. Kresman at adopt.org. Well, welcome back to the Navigating Your Life show. Today with us in studio, we have Steve Bolger, who's a Senior Vice President for Retail Banking for PNC Bank. So welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Today we're having a conversation about retirement and the time in our lives when paychecks are no more. So what are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen happen to individuals who have not prepared for that retirement part of their life?
The first is not proper planning in the early stages of life, and not really figuring on the actual life expectancy.
Which has gotten longer.
Right, much longer. You know, the average person now in retirement's got to plan for about a 20 to 30 year time frame.
Wow.
Most people aren't sure about how much they need to set aside and prepare for the retirement. And the rule of thumb is about 80% of your current wages you should be setting aside for your retirement years.
Let me understand that. So if a person is, let's say, making $50,000, they should plan on living on, in retirement, $40,000.
Correct.
Wow.
Yep. Because one of the things people also forget is the factor of inflation and how that erodes your financial allocations.
So in order to get that $40,000, based on a $50,000 a year job you have, you would need your Social Security plus other money to get to that kind of income.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
And what are some of those other things you would have that would give you income in retirement?
Well, the first thing that everyone should take advantage of is an employee or an employer-sponsored 401k plan.
Okay.
Maximizing on the contributions of that. The old rule of thumb is 15% of your gross income annually should be set aside for retirement.
Wow. And basically the employer stuff generally is free.
Yes.
Or that you have to match, but there's something that they're giving you in addition, so to turn it away is almost turning away free money.
Correct.
Okay.
A lot of people don't maximize the company match. So a lot of companies nowadays, even with the recession that we've recently had, still a lot of companies will offer a 4 to 6% match if you take advantage and maximize a minimum of 6 to 10% of your own personal income.
And then you can give in addition to that up to
Yes, you can give an addition. The retirement or the cap on a 401k contribution right now, I believe, is $16,500.
Okay, in a year's time?
In a year's time,
Okay.
correct.
Wow. And so what are some other ways that you can prepare? 401k is one. Is there some other things you can do?
Another one is first to set up an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of cash, so that if anything would happen, you wouldn't have to tap into your 401k.
Wow.
So that's something to consider. Another approach to look at is being diversified. So not just with your 401k, which is made up of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, but also real estate. So that's sometimes people now with the recent downturn in our economy around real estate, it's a good time to look at that as an option, though.
Wow. Okay. So really having a couple of channels or avenues for money to be coming in, not just Social Security, it's Social Security or 401k, possibly some treasury items, real estate.
Real estate
Wow.
is one. Yep,
Okay.
that's another one that a lot of people that I've talked to, they plan for. They have a set aside real estate and then they generate some rental income through
Wow.
that.
Wow. Now, one of the things that people would think about is that, I'm in retirement. Do I want to be bothered with, rental properties? And again, I think there are other ways. There are management companies and other things that may be able to help you out, maybe your children or some other family member. But again, having that as a revenue stream is an important part of that diversity that you talked about and where your money would come from.
Right.
Okay. Now, when is a good time to get started thinking about retirement?
As soon as possible. Sometimes parents look at their children and they say, well, they're going to college, they have time, it's their responsibility after they graduate from college. When actually the behaviors of having discipline in retirement should start right with your first job, and instilling in your children that sense of that day of retirement will come, and having them take ownership of their financial future.
So what are you seeing as some of the barriers for people thinking about retirement or planning for it? What have you seen that's stopping them?
Fear is the big thing right now. Most people still think about what happened with the recent recession, and they pull back and don't understand that over the course of time, your returns will be what you need them to be for retirement, and then just having that consistent approach of having steady money being set aside into your retirement plans. So fear, I would say, would be the biggest thing where people step back and feel that they're not experienced enough or know, and that the risks are too great.
And for advice, I know PNC will offer that to its customers, but where would a person go to try to seek advice? Are they going to a CPA, or are they going to a bank, or are they going, where can they go?
Yeah, there's plenty of different avenues you can go to find reputable financial advisors, and that is critical. Most people should consult with either a CPA or some certified financial advisor. Ways you can find these people are through a bank. So most banks have a resource for financial advising. Either friends or relatives that have a financial advisor currently that have had good experiences, that would be a resource to go to. And also going online, you can go online and pull these different investors up and have a background on how their performances.
So definitely check people out and look at their track record before attaching your money.
Definitely.
Because I guess the other thing when you talked about fears, there's been a lot of situations where people have been taking advantage of, and again, a lot of times they don't want to put that money out there because they're afraid that they may end up losing it.
Correct.
Wow.
Yes.
But again, as you said, there's no better time than now, and there's no better time than earlier rather than later to start thinking about it.
Right, and then being consistent over time, because again, the old saying is time is money.
Right.
If you stay disciplined over time, the returns usually will be in your favor.
Wow. We're getting ready to wrap up, Steve. I want to make sure you have a chance to share any final thoughts with our viewers.
The first thing I would say is, one, understand your time limit. Know how long that potentially you could be in retirement. That's the biggest shortfall that people don't plan accordingly. And then sit down with your spouse or significant other to decide what are you going to do in retirement, because that also changes how much money you need to decide. A lot of people think, well, I'm going to be traveling and buying a bigger home, when in fact most people tend to maintain their principal residence or downsize, and even just find out that, you know what, in retirement I still want to work in a part-time job. And then, of course, that changes how much money that you want to set aside.
Wow. Well, again, thank you so much, Steve. It's
Oh,
been a
my
pleasure
pleasure.
talking with you. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. We're now going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have a representative from Medicare as well as AARP, so please stay with us.
In these challenging times, your organization needs employees that maximize results. HumanWorks Training and Educational Services provides results-focused seminars for your staff. Topics include management and motivating employees, stress management, team building and leadership skills, and cultural diversity. Register today, just $89.99 or $75 for chamber members. Call 484-893-5057 or visit hwtes.com.
Explore Dr. Nat Williams' Absolutes of Success book series featuring The Navigator of Life, The Mature 64, Living Life 8x8, Management and Leadership by the 3 Ps, The Affordability Factor, The 4 C's of Change, Embracing Your Real Life, and the Absolutes of Success series workbook, Maximizing Your Greatest Potential to Achieve Your Personal Best. All books available at drnatwilliams.com or amazon.com.
When caring about someone becomes caring for someone, there's help at your beck and call. For over 12 years, Beck and Call's in-home caregivers have been providing assistance with the activities of daily living, everything from mealtime to bathing, or just being there when you can't be. Being at home is important to them. Give them flexible assisted living services that come right to the door. Gain peace of mind. Call Beck and Call today at 570-426-7507. We look forward to your family becoming part of ours.
Welcome back to the Navigating Your Life show. Now joining us in studio is Ed Essel from AARP and Mary Beth McMenamin from Lehigh Valley Health Network. So welcome, Mary Beth.
Nice to meet you.
Glad to have you, and welcome, Ed.
Doctor.
Good. Okay, so Ed, we're going to start with you first. One of the things that people associate retirement with is AARP. So can you tell us a little about what AARP does and when is a person entitled to join the ranks?
Okay, AARP is an organization for seniors that are age 50 or older. Mm-hmm. And we want to be your resource for aged and the aging. Mm-hmm. And it's a process that we all have to go through, mm-hmm. and AARP wants to make it as easy as possible. Mm-hmm. It can very often be a difficult transition. Sure. And one of the things that I do as an AARP volunteer is I lecture on what are called the psychological aspects of retirement. Mm. Many people do the financial planning, mm-hmm. and many people say, well, here I am, age 65 or 60, I'm ready to retire. I'm going to move to Miami, mm-hmm. and I'm going to be happy ever after. Wow. Well, it doesn't work that way. We found that part of your planning should certainly include finances. It should certainly include a good physical so that you determine whether or not you're going to survive during your retirement period. It may mean a change of habits, no more smoking, cutting down the drinking. There's a propensity for retirees to gain as much as 15 pounds because they get lazy and the metabolism changes. So you're going to have to watch your diet. And
Ed, you're not making this too exciting here, but
no. Believe me, my retirement has been an absolute adventure. I've been retired for 19 years. Wow. I retired at age 58. Wow. And fortunately, the money was right, mm-hmm. and the job wasn't, so I decided to take the retirement. Wow. And my wife and I have done extensive traveling, and we have daughters and grandchildren practically all over the United States, and we visit them on occasion.
That's wonderful.
But we've been to most of the major cities in most of the countries of the world, and we've thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. And every time we get on an airplane or a boat, I'll reach over and I'll tap her on the shoulder and I'll say, honey, the adventure goes on. Wow. So wonderful. Don't be too discouraged. Sure. But the preparation for retirement should include the concept that I am going to change, my relationships are going to change.
So Mary Beth, what does Lehigh Valley Health Network do to work with people who are retired as they start getting into some challenges with their health and dealing with the healthcare system?
When patients become eligible for Medicare, they have a lot of options. They have supplemental plans that they can obtain, or they can obtain a Medicare Advantage plan. Oftentimes there is still financial responsibility though after those plans or those insurances have
Let me just stop you there for a second,
Sure.
Mary Beth. So reality is you would have Medicare and you could get something that would supplement and lay on top of that and pay for some of the things that Medicare may not pay for.
Sure.
Now, just one question before you keep going is, would you ever advise a person not to have those supplemental things to Medicare and just have Medicare alone?
Actually, I would not suggest that because there is deductibles. If for Part B Medicare, patients have a premium that they have to pay every month, and that can range depending on what their Social Security was, or what they have earned throughout their working time. There are two types of plans, that really a supplemental plan or a Medicare Advantage plan, which really replaces the Medicare plan. They still have Medicare A and B, but it's a commercial carrier that would actually take care of paying for their benefits or their medical expenses that they need.
And I would guess, Mary Beth, you would agree that it's important for a person to understand that maybe your paychecks are not continuing into retirement, but your bills will.
Oh, absolutely. The medical expenses, with the reform that's going on, things are going to change more for Medicare patients in the future. And at Lehigh Valley Health Network, we do have a group of financial counselors that are there to help patients if they need help, assisting them with possible patient responsibility that they weren't expecting. Oftentimes, if they have a supplemental plan or a Medicare Advantage plan, there's still a percentage that the patient is expected to pay. So we have other options for the patients. We have a reduced cost of care program that we can help patients get a credit or possible reduction in whatever their patient financial responsibility is.
One of the themes that we've gotten from all of our conversations about life after retirement is, as Ed was saying, is the planning and being aware of that, and really the minute you start working, understand that you're now keep that end in sight because it's going to possibly be here sooner than later, and that you need to start paying attention to that very early on in your career.
And I think a lot of people, when they retire, they think about traveling. They don't really want to spend their money on medical expenses. So knowing that there's other programs out there to help, I think can be very important.
Good. And so when you're 25 and you're having that Twinkie and Pepsi, you might want to think, if you don't want to be paying for health care, you might want to change your diet and some of the other things that you're doing, because if not, that may be where your money's going to end up going, rather than traveling and having a good time. Wow.
You mean Twinkies aren't good?
No, they're not good. Well, I think they're good. I don't know. Well, and we're getting ready to wrap up our segment. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up? We'll start with you, Ed, please.
Well, the AARP does have a website, and there's a wealth of information on the website. And if you don't mind, I'm going to give you some information to take with you.
Very good. I'm only 5 years away from membership.
That's fine. And you're only 5 years away from planning.
There you go. Well, I need to start doing that today.
Very good.
Continue doing it. Wow. Thank you so much, Ed. And please share your closing thoughts, Mary Beth.
We also have a website, and we have a lot of resources out there for patients or the community to research and find help if they need help.
Sure. Very good. Well, thank you so much, Mary Beth, for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're now going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to close out today's show. So please come back with us.
It's about changing the world in which we live.
It's about playing, living, and working together.
It's about escaping from special programs.
It's about finding leadership
and social justice.
The Pennsylvania Developmental Disabilities Council believes that disability is a natural part of the human condition.
We are working to create a commonwealth where all people thrive in shared citizenship.
And everybody wins.
At Bridge to Creative Learning and Child Care Center, your child will learn and play the creative way in a safe and secure environment. We offer a fun and caring educational-based atmosphere and allow parents to monitor their child's activities. We are a state-licensed childcare center offering academic preparation, after-school programs, creative learning, summer activities, and much more. Call us at 610-351-7400. Prepare your child for a brighter future.
In this week's Employment Highlight, we're going over top interview tips to land that dream job. Be punctual. Drive to the interview location the day before to ensure you know how to get there. Prepare. Research the company and the position you're interviewing for. Relax, be yourself, and smile. Don't stress. It shows, and a warm smile goes a long way towards establishing a good first impression. Use a firm handshake and direct eye contact. It shows you're at ease and being honest. Bring copies of your resume, paper, pen, and portfolio. It shows you're prepared and work samples can be impressive. Ask questions. Prepare them ahead of time. It shows your interest in the position and the company. Write a thank you note. Get business cards from everyone who interviews you and handwrite a note to each one.
Enrich your life at Sacred Heart Villa, situated atop Mount St. Michael on 40-plus scenic acres. Our caring staff includes missionary sisters and on-site licensed nurses 24/7. We offer medical reminders as well as dispensing medication and transportation to medical appointments. With excellent food, fun events, a spacious hall, safe rooms, and much more, your life will be enriched. Call 610-929-5751 or go to sacredheartvilla-readingpa.org.
We hope today's show has been enlightening, encouraging, and empowering for you. Retirement is a tremendous milestone in everyone's life. To get there successfully, we need to be mindful about planning early and planning right. Taking the right steps is crucial. We have learned today from both professionals and those who have recently retired that with enough time, the right preparation, and a focused mindset, retirement will be a great achievement and the start of a new life for you and your family. As we wrap up today's show, we want to let you know we're looking forward to having you join us next week when the topic will be The Planet is Rockin' and Rollin'. Until then, be well. Thanks for watching.
A list of resources related to today's show is available on our website, which is navigatingyourlifeshow.com. On this site, there is a connection to our Facebook and Twitter pages and to our blog. While you are there, you can also email your comments on today's show or share ideas for future shows.